Nobody goes to the theater anymore, and that's a fact. I don't know. That's just what I've heard. But let's just assume it's a fact, because the whole premise of my channel is based on that. So here's the problem, right? If nobody's going to the movie theater, then how do we know if the movies that are in the theaters are good? That's where I come in. I will go investigate these movies and let you know if they're worth watching. This is me trying to make movie reviewing sound like a novel idea. I'm just gonna review movies. So today, I'm going to see The Life of Chuck. Because you know what? Somebody's got to do it. And it's not gonna be you. It's gonna be me. I'm gonna go see it. Alright, so we are on our way to the theater. I probably shouldn't even be filming.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that because you have to merge in front of another car here.
Yeah, actually, let me hand this off to... Are you recording?
Now I am.
Okay. I'm here with Luke. You can show your face if you so desire.
I very much desire that. Not really.
He wasn't gonna come along initially, but he is. And that's my choice. We're on the interstate right now. I feel like never mind. We're going to see the Life of Chuck, which neither of us know much about, other than that it is based off of a Stephen King short story, but it's not horror. Also, there's a cyber.
Thank you. I'm so glad you pointed that out because I really wanted to.
It was behind us earlier.
I didn't notice that before.
Yeah. So presumably it's about the life of a guy named Chuck. I know that Tom Hiddleston plays the main character, and there's music involved, and I know like a little bit more as far as plot details, but Luke I don't think knows anything.
Nope, just what you just said
about
now.
Anything.
Yeah, I didn't graduate.
Is this our exit?
Kindergarten. No, don't think so.
That's good. So what are your expectations going into it, Luke?
I already had forgotten that Tom Hiddleston played the main character, and that just completely threw me off again.
Oh yeah.
So
He's Loki.
Yeah, low key goated. No, anyway.
I'm cutting that.
Good. Yeah, sorry, I don't.
No
really
expectations.
No expectations.
I think we'll both enjoy it. Is my single expectation.
Oh yeah, I mean I expect to enjoy it.
Who knows? We might even cry.
We might. Hopefully from like the movie, not like something else.
Yeah, well, things get pretty rowdy when we go to the movies together.
Facts.
Fights break out. Not even between us. It's just a thing that happens as other people get in fights.
I mean, we do egg them on.
We do. With eggs.
Cooked, hard-boiled, withdrawn.
Yes, hard-boiled eggs.
Throw them at people and then blame other people for it, and then they fight each other.
Yes. And it just happens. We don't know why. It's just a coincidence. But all of that to say, if tears are shed, it could be completely unrelated to the movie.
Right. But if we're the ones shedding tears, hopefully it's related to the movie.
Yeah. I don't want to miss my exit.
Yeah, that's a good one. So, cut?
Yeah, cut.
Okay.
Hi. Was that dramatic? Okay, time for thoughts on the movie. It is nighttime now, and that is because it is 2 days later. It's 10:40 p.m. I just got home from work at Walmart. I work at Walmart. But hey, if this channel takes off, who knows? I could watch movies for a living. That would be so stupid, but pretty cool. So, right, so the movie, initial thoughts. It is not what I expected, given I didn't expect a whole lot going into it. I went into it in the same way I would back out of a room that turns out was having a mafia meeting, knowing as little as possible. And honestly, I think that's the way to go into this movie. Oh, I almost forgot. I did forget. Isn't that funny, that phrase, I almost forgot? Because people always say that after they've actually forgotten something. Just a sec. Sunglasses. That means it's review time. Yeah, that was kind of the idea, was to wear sunglasses when I do a review. It's night. Did I say that already? Yeah, so once the credits started rolling, I just kind of sat there and I was like, okay, I'm going to have to digest this for a little bit. Kind of like me when I eat gluten. I'm kidding. I don't have a gluten intolerance that I know of for sure. I don't know. I might. But I'm going to try to start off without giving any spoilers. The movie starts out, even if I haven't seen any trailers for this movie, but I assume even if you have, like, as soon as the movie actually starts, you'll be like, oh, interesting. And then that's just the first third of the movie is just kind of like, okay, I don't know how to take this, especially with a title like The Life of Chuck. So it's based off of a Stephen King short story, and at first, like, knowing what I knew about the movie, I was like, I don't really see how this is like a Stephen King type thing. And then it started to make sense. Like, the amount of detail. There's so many just little details and things that I thought were maybe just kind of meaningless, or I just didn't understand the meaning. Then you get further into the movie and it's like, oh, okay, neat. That first third of the movie. So I went and saw the movie with my brother Luke. After the movie was over, we walked around for a bit, walked around the plaza or whatever. If you say plaza, by the way, stop doing that. We were walking around and talking, and we actually had like a disagreement on just our interpretation of the first third of the movie. I said before we watched the movie that we might cry, and I might have teared up. Sometimes, honestly, when I'm watching something, I want to cry, and so I kind of like make myself cry, like on purpose, or tear up. If that makes sense. Is that a normal thing to do? Is there something wrong with me that I like want to cry and then like make myself cry because I'm not going to otherwise? Is that a bad thing? There was one line in particular that just really hit me. It was sticking with me afterward. It is a very simple line. There were people in the movie I didn't expect to be in the movie because I went into it not knowing really anything about it. So like, I knew Tom Hiddleston was in it, but Karen Gillan was in it. You might know her as that blue lady in Marvel, the blue Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't know. And it had Mark Hamill, which was a surprise, and my brother Luke didn't even realize it was Mark Hamill till the credits, and he saw his name and he was like, what? Who did he play? And I was like, yeah, I knew. Because I'm better than him, quite frankly. My brother, not Mark Hamill. Well, maybe I'm better than Mark Hamill too, but I was specifically talking about being better than my brother. But the possibility of being better than Mark Hamill, that's still open. And you know what? Forget about that. Oh, and then Jacob Tremblay was in it. I know him from Wonder, which is a good movie. So that was neat, because like, Wonder is kind of it's not a movie everyone has seen. I really like it, and so it was cool to see that like that Jacob Tremblay is doing other things. More movies that people probably aren't going to see, which is unfortunate because The Life of Chuck it's a good movie. Okay, now into spoilers. Spoiler time. Tom Hiddleston is like not in the movie as much as I thought. Chuck doesn't like really fully show up until the second act. And speaking of acts, that's the weird thing about the movie, is that it kind of goes in reverse. So it starts off and it says Act 3, and then you have this whole part with like hardly any Chuck in it. And then it goes to Act 2, and then you get Chuck, and then Act 1. And honestly, I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of non-linear storytelling. That's right. I know big words like non-linear. So essentially, the movie is about this guy Chuck dying. That's basically what the movie is about. He dies. And that's what I believe Act 3 is his death. And that's what my brother and I disagreed on, was the interpretation of that third act. Because basically it drops you into the world is like slowly just falling apart. There's a bunch of earthquakes, the internet is shutting down, sinkholes are appearing, and I think there's like wildfires, and basically people are like, I think this might be the end. And then sure enough, Act 3 ends with just like the universe like disappearing, essentially. I'll interview my brother Luke later to talk more about that. I really should have recorded this when the movie was more fresh on my mind and not yet fully digested. Because now I've digested it and even just kind of pooped it out. Honestly. And that's a good analogy. I think that's a good, solid analogy.
Alrighty.
It's time to pass off the reviewing sunglasses to you.
You didn't tell me about this. This is
No.
excellent.
That's the thing. It's okay. Well, don't do that.
I see the movie in a different light now.
So you have a correct opinion about the about Act 3 now?
No, it's just.
Is that what that means?
It's just a slightly darker shade.
Oh, it is a pretty bright movie. That's one thing I didn't say.
Yeah, well,
Visually.
That's one of my favorite things about it that really stuck with me. Was just a lot of movies end visually in darkness, and I just really appreciated how light it ended, and for the whole credits too. And just as the credits scrolled, it stayed on this light screen. It never went to black, which was very fitting actually for it. Yeah, general thoughts. Excellent movie.
Mhm.
The storyteller in me, who's been studying storycraft for several years now,
Nerd.
is like, yes, it's a nerd, but also I didn't even try. It would have broken my brain to do so.
He said the story structure was more complicated than Memento, which
No, I said the story is more complicated than Memento. I meant basically
character
the
arc
same
wise,
thing.
character.
Yeah, no. I mean, story structure wise, like actually, yeah, because Memento, not Memento.
Yeah, Memento.
That sounds like, is that like pimento?
Memento.
Or
Or
like-
cheese.
Yeah. Memento is actually pretty straight backward storyline. Like, it's just, okay, yep, we're just jumping back in time.
But it's also going forward in time.
Whereas, well, yes, with the interspersed scenes, but it's actually pretty, like I said, straightforward. Like, it's a linearly told, non-linear story.
Mm.
Whereas The Life of Chuck starts out with Act 3, the ending thing, and then you go into Act 2, which cuts back in time also, and then you have Act 3, which is cutting back and forth between different time periods of him as a kid, and him as a teenager, and him as a full-grown dying adult.
Well, that's Act 1.
Right, sorry, Act 1. See,
Yeah.
that's how confusing it is. Wouldn't have happened with Memento, is all I'm saying. Anyway, and then you layer the character arc elements onto that. But yeah. Did you want to talk about how you were wrong about Act 3? Is that what you wanted me to talk about?
We can't share the sunglasses for this part.
Sadly, we tried. Took a while.
Yeah.
Almost broke them.
Almost. But just like my resolve, they remain strong.
Also, we didn't try.
And also, what's resolve? I already explained in what I filmed last night about how, like, the first bit of the movie is like a kind of the apocalypse is basically happening. Like, people are like, we think this might be the end.
Mm-hmm.
And so I explained my thought of that basically representing him dying, the main character Chuck dying.
Yes.
But basically there's this whole part, there's this Walt Whitman poem that talks about, like, I contain multitudes. And there's a scene when Chuck is younger where the teacher is explaining to him, like, what that means. And it's like, you have multitudes in your head, all the people you meet, and
You are schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Not what it was a really cool moment.
Yeah. Basically, we all as humans contain multitudes in our head of, like, all of our experiences, all the people we know and interact with, and all that.
And so the Act 3 opening was
Yeah,
personifying all of those multitudes and instead dying.
Right, with characters that you learn he interacted with or saw as a child and as he was growing up, and then they all die. But also Chuck, you learn he's dying. Like you learn in Act 2 that he's dying, and so then it becomes clear to me that the whole world ending is representative of of basically his multitudes dying, if that makes any sense. It makes sense if you've seen the movie, but there's like no chance you've seen this movie. So
unless you pause this video partway through
and go to the theater and go watch it, which you should.
You should. Yeah, so the alternative view, which was correct until I realized it wasn't. Well, it still might be. But the alternative view is because there are some paranormal elements of the movie, I thought it might be that Chuck is just a special person whose death happens to coincide with the dying of the universe, and thus makes his life specifically especially meaningful in a symbolic way, his death coincided with the death of everyone else. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized the plausibility of Joseph's view.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the
The reality of my view.
the plausibility of it. part of why I want your view to be true too is just like the low level of unrest portrayed in Act 3 just really struck me as unrealistic. Like, so many things have fallen into the ocean and crops failed, and yet they're still like eating food and no one's looting and stealing from each other.
Yeah.
Which
that is one thing I thought about, was like there's no like just lawlessness happening.
Mm-hmm. Which fits the tone of the movie.
Yeah.
You know,
It's not a violent movie whatsoever.
It's not a violent. It's not a doom and gloom. So I could understand it tonally. It just didn't seem realistic to me. But if it's all happening in his head anyway,
yeah,
that makes even more sense.
Exactly.
Yep. I do need to go now. I'm tired of this conversation, and intentionally scheduled something for right after it so I could cut it short. Not at all. Thank you for including me in this
Yes.
show. I do need to go. No, not the glasses!
So at the end of the day, The Life of Chuck. Did I take one for the team by watching it? Or should you also go watch it? Honestly, I would recommend it. I don't know if it's in theaters at this point though. It's been like 5 days since I went and saw it. This video has taken me too long to film, okay? I'm sorry. This is also probably the worst piece of content. Maybe my next review will be better. Don't count on it, but subscribe. Subscribe anyway.